Dog Yoda Costume Review Part 3. I wore it outside in public, and now I'm a registered sex offender. I don't recommend it for human use. Dog Yoda Costume Review Part 4. Disney and JJKKL.
That's right. J.J. Abrams wrote a movie about how brain damage fixes people. Twice now. Roger Ebert loved this pro-brain damage movie, saying, quote, "This is a film of obvious and shallow contrivance, which aims without apology for easy emotional payoffs and tries to manipulate the audience with plot twists that belong in a sitcom." See, this is why I don't identify as a formalist or a structuralist, postmodernist, post-structuralist, new critic. I'm boring. I'm so boring that big list of critical theories doesn't even list mine. I'm a biographical critic. In other words, to support my critical analysis, I'm now going to creepstalk J.J. Abrams' entire family.
So one of the things that I bought at the magic store was this. Tannins Mystery Magic Box. Infinite possibility. It represents hope. It represents potential. I find myself drawn to infinite possibility and that sense of potential, and I realize that mystery is the catalyst for imagination. Times when mystery is more important than knowledge. In the creation of Lost, basically tasked with creating this series that we had very little time to do. We had 11 and a half weeks to write it, cast it, crew it, shoot it, cut it, post it, turn it in, 2-hour pilot. There was no time to develop it. I'm sure you're all familiar with those people who tell you what you can't do and what you should change, and there was no time for that, which is kind of amazing. It is now democratized to someone who wants to write. Go write, do your thing, it's free, no, you don't need permission to go write. But now I can say, go make your movie. There's nothing stopping you from going out there and getting the technology. You can lease, rent, buy stuff off the shelf that is either as good or just as good, as the stuff that's being used by the, quote unquote, legit people. No community is best served when only the elite have control. It was hurting Tom's nose, and I learned this very early on in my career. Don't hurt Tom's nose. When mystery is more important than knowledge.
The whole point of this is that the unknown is more exciting than whatever is actually in the box. So look at the poster, watch the trailer, but don't ever go see the movie. This is the guy you got to finish off your 9-movie saga and finally open every last little box. No, kid, leave it in the box. It'll be better if you never open it and just imagine playing GoldenEye with your friends. In fact, imaginary friends are better than real ones. JJ's dad is a TV movie producer, making an endless list of just forgettable movies of the week. Hey, it's a career. But then he dragged his wife in and she wrote a movie too.
For coffee.
I'm not fighting, I am packing.
After 20 years of marriage,
Happy anniversary!
Maggie and George are calling it quits.
We want a divorce.
But they're about to get a big surprise.
Mom and Dad, you're the best. We all pitched in to give you something that is long overdue. A second honeymoon!
JJ's sister, Tracy, also writes shitty Hallmark movies. For example, Fairfield Road.
I was the chief of staff to the mayor of Boston. I'm done with politics.
Noah McManus is at a crossroads in his life.
Hey, cheer up. It's gonna be okay.
But in a town searching for answers.
This is where Randall wants to build a shopping mall.
You gotta beat that guy.
About a political campaign manager with a gold digger of a fiance who leaves to go live in a small town and fight against the evil corporate development and fall in love with a simple small-time girl. Then she wrote Daniel's Daughter.
She's Kate Madigan, the magazine editor.
It was the perfect life.
A New York City fashion magazine editor and big-time big city girl with an impending marriage to a media tycoon. She has to return to her hometown to spread her father's ashes. And also romance with like a simple small-town guy because city people are trash. Then she wrote Love Again.
We used to do things together.
I'm not sure we have anything in common anymore.
But you're David and Chloe. You'll work it out.
Their daughter's wedding will inspire one couple.
Love each other no matter where life takes you.
About a married couple struggling but hides their marital problems while they're helping their daughter plan her wedding, and then they fall back in love. So JJ's sister and mom both get to write movies too, and they're about troubled marriages and weddings and proposals, how the big city, media tycoons, big corporations are all evil, and really you should just go live in a small town, have a simple life. J.J. Abrams makes giant corporate media empire horror movies about powerful political families and how great they are and their romantic relationships that inspire bondage erotica. But But what about JJ? How did he get his start? Well, he first got a shot because of nepotism. His dad, he got his start by writing a great comedy film.
Spencer Barnes has the perfect life. Spencer Barnes has the perfect house. He's got a great car.
Yeah.
And a wonderful job. There's just one problem.
That's not Spencer.
Friggin' A!
I'm Spencer Barnes. Meet Jimmy Dworsky, a professional thief who's stolen Spencer's identity.
Hi, Spencer Barnes. You're Spencer Barnes? Yeah, it's me.
He's moved into Spencer's house.
Wow. I'm on Dynasty.
Taken over his job.
Are you familiar with high-quality products?
Your oatmeal stinks. Tastes like dirt. Actually, chewy dirt. Your ketchup's too runny. Your rice sticks together all the time. Your bologna tastes like rubber. You gotta smother it with mustard. Not your mustard, because your mustard tastes like crap. Believe me, I know. I used to work in a cafeteria.
He's dated his girl.
Ah!
Want to join me?
Sure.
And ruined his life.
This is a disaster.
Quote, it's trading places with boring white guys and a gang of negative female role models. The clutching wife, the yammering princess, the round-heeled rich girl in a corporate shoe.
Diane Connors!
Oh, that chick's a witch.
I'll kill you! Ah!
You look like shit. Oh, that hurt.
I didn't lose your file, thanks. You did. I'll kill you!
56, one of the most active stocks traded. Smoke?
Wait, where do I know her from? Oh, and that guy.
Oh, I don't smoke, but a couple of my friends do. Do you mind if I take some?
What?
Fresh off his not funny comedy, JJ went for drama and pro-brain damage that Roger Ebert compared poorly to a sitcom. To follow up his pro-lobotomy movie, JJ wrote Forever Young, a movie about a racist soldier from the 40s.
Daniel looked to face anything.
Ellen, will you marry me?
Except the woman he loved.
I couldn't get the words past my throat.
But when he thought fate had taken her away...
Harry, I can't watch Helen die. I want to sleep for a year.
He took the chance of a lifetime.
Free's a human being.
He never imagined where it would take him.
It's cold. You think he's dead?
See, Mel Gibson's lady dies, so he volunteers for this experiment, and then when he wakes up 45 years later, all kinds of hijinks ensue. But the big plot twist is, Grandma's not dead. Go see Grandma. Does that sound familiar?
Helen was in an accident, but she's alive.
Box Office characterized it as gooey sentiment and melodrama, playing on Gibson's name, meaning it sucks. That's the only reason to see it is because Mel Gibson's in it. Rita Kempley of the Washington Post dismissed the film as, quote, a problem of schmaltz. That sounds great, I'll have that. So then JJ returned to his roots, comedy. So he wrote Gone Fishin'. No, really, Gone Fishin'. J.J. Abrams wrote that.
A full tank of gas and a case of cold beer. Nothing. Absolutely nothing will stand between them and their dream.
They paid a writer to write that. Like a lot of money. Oh, and a stunt woman was killed in the making of the scene. No, seriously, I'm not gonna joke about people dying. Like
What's the fucking lotion in the basket?
His terrible joke killed a woman. Now you might think that after failing horribly at comedy twice, making a pro-brain damage movie, and then melodramatic schmaltz crap about lovable zombie Mel Gibson, and having one of your dumb jokes literally kill a stunt woman, you might be done in Hollywood. But no, because remember, if your dad's...
Because in Hollywood, you just kind of fail upwards.
You and your mom and your sister all get to write movies. That's all it takes. Be part of this important family.
I am your father's brother's nephew's cousin's former roommate.
So then JJ got another shot, a fifth movie, and he decided, you know what? That brain damage thing, I think I'm onto something there.
I asked Michael why it was easier to train oil drillers to become astronauts than it was to train astronauts to become oil drillers, and he told me to shut the fuck up. So that was the end of that talk. He was like, Ben, just shut up, okay? This is a real plan, all right? I was like, you mean it's a real plan at NASA to train oil drillers? He was like, just shut your mouth.
Like, somehow they can build rocket ships, but they don't understand, like, what makes a good tranny. What makes a good tranny? What makes a good tranny?
I have meticulously recreated this crash sequence using state-of-the-art 3D modeling techniques. I've come to the conclusion that there's someone at fault. My main finding is that dogs are afraid of 3D modeling crash recreation techniques.
But JJ wasn't in charge of the trilogy, Kathleen Kennedy was. She's credited with producing like a ton of great movies. And just look at this interview from 2016. A lot of these big movies are a collection or a montage of big set pieces. Doesn't really matter if there's a central spine to the storytelling, as long as we keep it moving and the effects are huge and it's loud and the music's great and the locations are like Burning Man. It's all going to wash over the audience. She calls the result of such assumptions disposable filmmaking and her primary goal.
This is not like a series of books like Harry Potter where you've already got a template of what the stories might be. These are original stories and original ideas that come out of a world that essentially is in George's head. So the beauty of the collaboration that can continue is as we work our way through these scripts, if we're sitting and saying, I wonder if this character can do that, or does this make sense within the rules of Star Wars? That really, he's the keeper of the flame when it comes to that. It is going to happen. We are going to hire a woman who's going to direct a Star Wars movie. I have no doubt. On the other hand, I want to make sure that we put somebody in that position who's set up for success.
From an article in Vanity Fair, referring to a notorious scene in Return of the Jedi, I asked Kennedy if she would ever have put Princess Leia in a golden bikini, the famous Slave Leia costume. Quote, with a chain around her neck? Kennedy asked, arching an eyebrow and laughing. Quote, I don't think that would happen. The bikini, it objectifies and oppresses her. It's a very clear symbol of sexual subjugation. Then Leia literally takes the chains of oppression and strangles to death her male oppressor. How is that not feminist? How's that not a pro-feminist scene? Jabba's a hermaphrodite. Oh no, Leia strangled to death an LGBTQ slug. Cancel Leia! So now that we have a woman in charge who would never have put Leia in the bikini, let's see what she does with this trilogy and with Rey. Rey has lots of powers, is good at everything, doesn't struggle, doesn't need training, falls in love with a man who keeps trying to kill her, and then she takes his grandfather's name. It's like negatively feminist. It's like pro-women, shut up, and no one's keeping you down. Take a man's name. Kathleen Kennedy worked with Lucas, Steven Spielberg, John Milius, Robert Zemeckis, David Fincher, M. Night Shyamalan. And while the list of things on which she's a producer is impressive, it's kind of like being Mike McCarthy and getting credit for the Green Bay Packers offense when your quarterback is Aaron Rodgers. Nothing against her. She's probably a great producer. And if you're a great producer and you're working with Spielberg, you just help him do his thing. He's the creative one. And it's not like that always works out. She was a producer on Temple of Doom, Crystal Skull, and The Last Airbender. But since taking over Lucasfilm, she's now helmed The Force Awakens, which was just a complete ripoff of A New Hope. Rogue One, where she had to fire a director in place during reshoots. The Last Jedi, a complete writing disaster that pissed on the movie it was supposed to be a sequel to. Solo, she fired those directors, replaced them. The Rise of Skywalker, she had a director in place and writer and fired both of them, replaced them both with J.J. Abrams and the guy who wrote Batman vs. Superman. The Rise of Skywalker could probably be called Retcon, the movie. So much of it is spent undoing things done in The Last Jedi. J.J. literally has a monkey put the pieces back together. It generally gives Rian Johnson the finger. Basically, this movie is like watching Rian Johnson get fired, but instead of firing him, you let him make the movie, and now you made another movie as like a personal middle finger. Look, a little kid who could use the Force and is a nobody.
They were nobody.
Well, maybe that little kid is Ki Adimundi's grandnephew.
They were nobody.
Because you're a Palpatine.
This is the cinematic universe equivalent of Frushy on SNL. There's a principle in improv. Yes, and. That is, your partner comes up with something, a character or a part of a scene, and you don't argue. You don't say, no, actually, it's you go, okay, that's the thing. Now I'm going to add something to it. You work with each other. You build on what each other are doing. So JJ took the original trilogy and did, yes, more of that. He didn't add anything, but okay. Then Rian Johnson was like, no, but.
Every word of what you just said was wrong.
And JJ was like, no, but actually. They were both Michael Scott doing improv.
La 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 la.
Boom! Detective Michael Scott! I'm with the FBI!
I'm supposed to meet my doctor here. Have you seen him? He's a very angry midget.
Boom! Freeze!
The plot leaked online before the movie came out, and if you just read the plain text where it's like, Rey is a Palpatine, and then Rey and Kylo kiss, it reads like bad fan fiction. Burger King built a whole ad campaign around these spoilers, and I think the only way they would do that and risk pissing off all of Disney's lawyers is if they thought it was fake. But that was the movie. Kathleen Kennedy has 2 notable future projects in the works. So she's going to do a whole new Star Wars trilogy, and she hired Benioff. She hired the Game of Thrones guys, which led to them totally phoning in a like shortened final season of Game of Thrones that like ruined it, and then fired them, and they don't get to do it anyway. So she ruined Game of Thrones too. Remember, she said she wants a woman to direct a Star Wars movie? Well, she helmed 5 Star Wars movies, a whole trilogy that was then canceled. In 3 of the 5 films, she fired the directors and hired new ones. And then in the new trilogy, fired those guys too. In total, she's hired someone to direct a Star Wars movie 11 times. All 11 were men. But hey, she's fired 6 of them. Girl power. If you want to include writing credits too, including Rogue One and Solo, it's 21 job positions she's filled. They're all men.